things is looking bad for Deku. Things is looking horrendous for Deku right now, but not necessarily for what you might think I'm saying that. Because you're probably thinking like, oh, I'm saying that because he's in a battle with Lady Nagant, which, don't get me wrong, it's a deadly battle, and the amount of time they've taken to really demonstrate just what a threat she is also showcasing that, yeah, he got a problem. Not to mention also what's been going on with All Might. Yeah, he got a problem. But even more so, something that is looking a little more apparent to me regarding All For One, and we're going to talk about it all in this video, and something that he has an ace in the hole, so to speak, that is really making me wonder what's going on here with All For One, and potentially a secret about him. But in general, shit is bad. We got assassins after Deku. Deku is still on his Batman vibes. Like, we got a lot to talk about right now. Just once again, My Hero Academia in a dark spot, but I'm liking the tone. Let's talk a little bit of that My Hero Academia great news. It's gotten real, fam. It's gotten real.
No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, so I want to say the last chapter we talked about was chapter 310, so going to chapter 311, because that was a lot of the setup for where we're at right now. A lot of the beginning of the chapter was once again focusing in and pushing the ideology that society, they don't believe in the heroes anymore. Endeavor's fighting like some guy with a freaking nail gun, and even the people that he's, you know, protecting in that instance is like, get out of here. They're throwing shit at him. They're blaming him. They're saying it's because you failed that we're even dealing with bozos like this guy to begin with. Don't come over here acting like I'm the hero, when, you know, they're blaming him for the problems that they're going through to begin with. If he would have been better at his job, if he would have not lost to the villains, we would have won. Which, I'll be honest with you, that's kind of a selfish thing on society's part. Like, they gave it their all. They gave it their all, and they still kind of took the L. So it's not really the hero's fault, but I guess society has been let down. And a lot of that, you could even argue, if we're really looking at it, is to a certain degree the fault of All Might. All Might gave this unrealistic, you never have to be worried ever again ideal to the people around, you know, Japan. People were like, we don't gotta worry, you know. All Might held it down for so many years, so when you get somebody that honestly can't live up to the shoes of All Might, couldn't in the war, and it's been demonstrated already multiple times that Endeavor is not the hero that All Might was, people are going to look at you a little funny in the light, like, yo, we didn't have these problems with All Might. How we had these problems with you? Look at what the world has become now that you're number one. Like, stop it. And then it's hard for them to trust even more so, because there are some secrets that they have to keep under wrap to protect, like Deku, for example, because the public is like, yo, we know y'all still hiding something because we heard that Shigaraki was after somebody else and y'all don't want to tell us, so until y'all transparent, we're not going to believe shit. Which, a lot of that honestly felt a little bit like that cancel culture, which is in the worst way, because like, yo, these are, you know, threats that literally could destroy and decimate a city within a second, and these are superheroes that have these powers that can actually benefit, and they're just like, no, we don't care, just stop. And it's like, it's crazy from our perspective in terms of like, yo, we know that at the end of the day they tried their best, but I guess if you look at it both sides of the spectrum, on the public's perspective, they don't really know how, like, you know, if these heroes are actually legitimately trying to help or what's going on here. They just know like, yo, my business just got destroyed, yo, I just lost 2 loved ones, yo, the city is on fire. You think I give a fuck about if Endeavor is really trying his hardest? No, you failed and I'm unhappy. Yeah, it was a little interesting to see them throwing shit at them and calling them cowards and stuff. I was like, god damn. But it's also, I guess, interesting aspect to look at as well, of the 3 of them, Endeavor, Hawks, and Best Jeanist riding together. Like, yo, those are some 3 powerful dudes, you know what I'm saying? The number 1, 2, and 3 riding together, that's dope. We get a little more context there, which is kind of already things that we knew of, like them saying, hey, we need to keep a distance from Deku because we don't want to put pressure from the media, but also we're kind of using him to lure out Shigaraki and them because they know that that's what they're after. They're after One For All, so they're going to be after Deku, which we're going to talk about later. Something that really makes me question, like, how does All For One know a lot of this stuff? We'll get to it. We also get more clarification once again that Doc Garaki, whatever the heck they call him, the doctor, he's still in custody, which I'm wondering how they're going to handle this, because they've needed him for a lot of things. And for example, they definitely need him if All For One is going to try to make the permanent transfer into Shigaraki's body and get him to that 100%. Like, they need him. They absolutely need him. And I'm imagining they're going to try to use, if they get their hands on Deku, him as a bargaining chip, like, yo, we'll let some people live or something there. Just give us the doctor, because because otherwise, how are they going to get the rest of what they need to be done, done if they don't have him? And then when they started talking about All For One needing to get into Shigaraki's body, and in particular, the need for the rage. Shigaraki's rage is important. And one thing that was pointed out was, yo, why is All For One always smiling? So there's a contradiction there. Like, so he wants rage constantly. Shigaraki's rage is important, but All For One is constantly smiling. It could be that potentially All For One lacks a certain amount of empathy, and maybe he wants that. Who knows? Maybe there's an internal struggle with All For One that he wants to be able to feel something. Maybe he has no feelings and he wants to feel something, and that's why he feels like if Shigaraki has all this rage, maybe it'll transfer to him and he could feel something other than just this smile, that maybe he lacks emotions. Maybe he's legitimately a psychopath. But then when we cut to All Might, and I don't believe, I'm not even gonna lie, I don't believe for a second that that's the end of All Might. It wasn't dramatized enough. It wasn't put on. It wasn't set up. It wasn't the right moment yet. But when All Might is in the Might Mobile and he's basically driving around, all of a sudden he loses Deku's signal, and then bam, it looks like a grenade or a time bomb or something went off and blew up. Honestly, I don't think that's the end. I honestly think that somebody probably saved him at that very moment, because there's just no way. No way is All Might going to be dead. I refuse to believe he's going to be dead that way. They had the flashback of Night Eyes warning and things like that, but nah, man. Like, unless it's going to be that, like, he's going to be in critical or something like that when we run into him once more, and maybe he'll die later on. But as of right now, no, we're still going to see All Might, and he's still going to have more to say, whether it be that he was saved right there or he's critically injured or something like that. I refuse to believe that All Might is dead. Like, nah. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it just didn't seem like it was set up enough. And then following that, we had that, I don't know, what was it, a microphone or a recorder or a dagger? It looked like all three combined in one. Flies by Deku's face, smashes into the wall with a little microphone, and basically this person is saying, yo, come quietly or you're gonna lose some limbs. And it's some sort of assassin there. She looked fine as hell, I'm not even gonna lie. And over on the ground, it looked like Overhaul there, which it was revealed later on that is Overhaul there, which, yeah, Overhaul is down bad, and we're gonna get to that. But that chapter, for the most part, it was a lot of, once again, setting up and building up and mentioning things, giving context and whatnot of what's going on. And honestly, that All Might situation, I'm going to ask right there, do you think All Might's dead, critically injured, or he was saved at the nick of time? Maybe somebody, aside from Deku, was keeping an eye on All Might to begin with, and he didn't die in the explosion inside the All Might mobile. But then moving on to 312, it definitely felt like a lot of the efforts of chapter 312 was focused on showcasing just how much of a, not only badass, but level of threat this lady Nagant, I want to say that's how you pronounce her name, Nagant, how much of a threat she was, because it starts off once again with this time now a flashback of Hawks telling Deku, warning Deku, like, yo fam, first of all, they don't have the doctor to do what they need to be done, so their best bet is they're gonna try to take you alive, which means they got money on your head, but to keep you, you know, alive. And then he thinks back to, which I'm imagining there's a ton of people that could have done the job, but he thinks back and he says, one of the best people to do the job is a former senior colleague of mine. Remember, he was in the safety commission and whatnot, so he thinks back to a person that was a part of that with him, Lady Nagant, a former senior colleague of his, and he basically tells Deku, you run into her, run. Just run. Don't play around. Run. And that was the first step of them really trying to emphasize that she is no joke, because 312 really pushed it, and it made me wonder, okay, if they're really doing that, there's a couple of different reasons why, like throughout the chapter. Is it because A, they want to showcase and demonstrate just like, oh, she's a level of threat, so when Deku overcomes it, then it's like, holy shit, Deku took out somebody that freaking strong and defeated somebody at that level of capability, which also will demonstrate just where Deku's at power-wise? Or is it that it's going to be like, hey, this is why Deku will be able to get captured, because she is that damn awesome? So I was kind of leery throughout the chapter thinking, well, why are they building her up so damn much? She's just now getting introduced. And also her being a former hero for the safety commission was interesting as well, which I want to know more about her backstory and what landed her to being jailed to begin with. I mean, we learn a little bit of it later on, but we're due for a flashback definitely, because like as we're going and progressing with her, I want to know more about this awesome and kind of spicy looking lady, because then we see like just, okay, we heard about how badass she is. She started off with a warning at the last chapter. Hawks warned Deku like, yo, just run. And then we see her chasing down Deku, but not physically, just with shots, like the ultimate assassin, that her bullets are chasing down Deku as he's trying to run away. Mind you, Deku has all these awesome and insane quirks now, and her bullets are chasing him down. And once again, going back into what I just was saying earlier, then we get like word and a little flashback TV segment, I want to say, of this sniper hero, like one of the hot 100 heroes to look out for. And even he's saying like, yo, this lady Nagant, she's no joke, which this was an interesting way to deliver exposition on her abilities. Like, rather than like just a narrator coming in or her thinking about it or Deku assessing it and then saying it, getting like a televised version of like another hero saying like, yeah, yo, she's that awesome, blah blah blah. That was interesting, because he was like, yo, even though I'm the shit, her with her raw skill can do what takes me to do with my quirk. Like, I need to use a quirk to do awesome shit. She does it with her bare hands. So that was another awesome thing about her. And then he delivers a little bit about her capability of her being able to reshape the bullets, and essentially she's almost like a human rifle, a human sniper rifle. Yeah, they really want us to know just how awesome and how dangerous she is, which I guess you could also say and attribute it to like she's newer and we're late in the game, so in order to make it credible that like Deku with all these quirks is having trouble with this newer character we've never heard of, we need to add all of these, you know, accomplishments and achievements behind her name, so you can be like, okay, this is why Deku is struggling, even though he has the use of all the predecessors' quirks. Even though I feel like they've already kind of showcased that, like, yo, all of their quirks for the most part were not all that, like, amazing. Like, having a Spidey sense, for example, which is something that is keeping Deku alive for sure in this battle, but, like, if that was his only quirk, like, yo, I can sense danger. Well, what the fuck you gonna do, fam? Like, yeah, you can sense the fucking danger. Is that gonna help you from getting your ass kicked? Like, imagine somebody shows up and they're about to whip your ass and you're like, I can sense they want to whip my ass. Bow! You knock the fuck out. Whoop-dee! You knew that you were gonna get your ass whipped. Big whoop. So combined, they're great, but that was one of the things as well I feel like they were trying to demonstrate leading into all of this, is that alone, all of those quirks aren't all that fantastic to begin with. And the fact that she has no downtime in between shots kind of almost sounds hacked to a certain degree after a certain while of hearing all this great shit. Like, okay, she's OP, we get it. But Deku was able to block 2 of her shots already, which she was like, holy shit, that's a miracle, that's a first. And then we get more into who is definitely Overhaul on the ground next to her, and Overhaul really stood crazy. Shigaraki left this man down below horrendous. Like, yo, there's down bad, down horrendous. He is below that because he just keeps mumbling, the boss, we gotta get the boss. Like, yo, he is fucked up. They did a number on him. That whole battle between what Deku did and then Shigaraki after the fact, like, yikes. I mean, you just gotta think for a second, like, just a couple seasons ago, like, you know, talking anime wise, like, he was the big baddie, the big threat, and now he's been reduced to just crazy. But it was a great way to segue into the flashback of why Lady Nagant is after Deku to begin with, of All For One following him breaking everyone out of the prison and then coming to save her, or, you know, just jumping in the middle of everything that was going on. And here's why I started this video off saying that Deku is in really big trouble. Shit is really bad for Deku right now. All For One just sounds like he knows everything that is about to happen. Now, you could argue that it could be a mole. It could still be that there's a mole in there. A lot of people have their theories, whatever, whoever the mole could be in UA, but it seems almost like he had futuristic foresight, which is a very dangerous power, because the amount of detail he was going into before shit was actually happening, which I don't even know if Deku had made up his mind at that point, because he's like, yo, in the days to come, this guy, this kid, he's going to go off on his own. He's leaving the school, going off on his own, which, okay, you could deduce that. Maybe Deku already had told people he was going to do that, something along the lines of that. So he could have got the information as a mole. He could have deduced that, just like some great guessing, because he knows, like, this is how they operate. So that could very well be. But the way he was going about it, going from that to saying, hey, you need to go on a rainy day, like if he knew it was going to go down on a rainy day, like there was a lot of bullet points through there that made me think, can All For One see the future? Does he have a future sight quirk? Maybe that's why he's smiling all the time, because he has seen the future and he knows everything's going to go his way in the end, or at the very least according to what he's seen. I mean, he even, for crying out loud, said that there's going to be a lot of people watching him from afar, which All Might was watching him, Endeavor and them, they even said last chapter that they watching him. That's a lot of great deductions, or the mole, or he has foresight, one or the other. Either he's deducing some wild shit, the mole is giving him all this information, or he freaking can see the future, which I would not be surprised with everything everything that man has at his disposal. And right there where it was a little bit built up of things like, okay, I kind of want to see a little more about this kind of hottie there, Miss Nagant, Lady Nagant, of when he's like, yo, you killed a fellow hero, you want to see the society change and whatnot. So yeah, you might want to get this job done because this kid, he ain't gonna let that happen. So I want to see why, which I'm imagining Lady Nagant probably didn't do it with malice, because again, she was a hero at one given point. She was rocking with Hawks and shit like that. Probably something led her to, unfortunately, having to kill a fellow hero. And once again, we see that even in that flashback, Overhaul was just destroyed in the mind, and it was Lady Nagant that actually took him along with her, still kind of being heroic, like, yo, this guy is a little sick, Mendito, let me help him out. Like, that's kind of still the hero in her, which more than likely means that even when the bitter end, let's just say it comes to blows with her and Deku, she's probably not going to kill him. She's probably going to go the heroic route and change in the end. That's just me. And it ends off with All For One giving a deposit, which I was a little confused on that one, because then all of a sudden she starts doing an airwalk quirk. So did he give her that extra quirk, like he gave her the airwalk alongside she already have the rifle stuff? I was a little confused on that one. But yeah, honestly, some fantastic setup chapters, setting this woman up that in 2 chapters, I'm already like, yeah, they've said enough that I'm worried for Deku. I mean, All Might's bomb going off. I'm curious what you guys think about all this. Is All Might dead from the bomb going off? What do you think is going to happen with Lady Nagant? Is All For All just ever going to get out of that state of repeating and mumbling and shit like that about the boss? What do you think is up with All For One? Do you think he's seen the future? Is it that the mole is telling him, or he's just deducing shit very well? Or who knows? Maybe he has a link into the predecessors and everything that's going on in there, and he can actually hear inside of Deku now. Maybe it's a link with his brother. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the My Hero Academia manga with chapter 313 and beyond. Shit is getting dangerous. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and Godspeed, Deku, because Lady Nagant, she's a beast. She's a beast, fam. Have an awesome one.